speaking of the election.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been in Congress since 2015.
That's
now
right.
you want to jump over to the Senate. Why?
Yeah. Well, look, let's be honest. Congress is a very hard institution. You are trying to get laws passed with 435 people. In the Senate, there's things that we could be doing right now to be helping everyday Arizonans. I mean, just the things that we're feeling right now. You know, the cost of inflation. Everything's so expensive right now. If you go down to the fries here on Baseline, you know, the prices are finally going down. But I was there when I saw the egg prices jump, you know, the milk prices jump. You know, that hurts families. I know growing up in the situation I did, every time, you know, prices jump, people had have a tough time. You know, I had to help work and during high school to help my family. And right now it's tough out there. So being able to go there, being part of the solution when it comes to the border and our immigration problems that we're having and the border problems we're having right now, being helpful to making sure that we ensure women have abortion rights, something that is now very questionable considering what just happened with the 1864 law. These are all the work, this is all the work that we need to do really to keep Arizona moving forward, and I know I can do that in the Senate.
Well, to that point, it's been one of the least productive Congresses in recent decades. What gives voters confidence that if you go to the Senate, they elect you for the Senate,
right,
that you're going to be able to get legislation passed?
You know, it is difficult, you know, but one of the things that I've been able to do is get legislation passed, even though the Republicans from the opposite party are in charge of the House. For example, I passed out of the House the Native American Child Protection Act, a bill that was actually sponsored and started by John McCain. We got out of the House, and now it's waiting on the Senate side. I've been on the Armed Services Committee for 10 years, and of those 10 years, I've passed bipartisan. Gracias. Okay.
Wow, looks good. Gracias, wow.
¿Tiene chile?
Mine looks fancy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No tiene chile.
¿No tiene chile? ¿No puede dar tabasco algo?
Sí.
Muchas gracias. You know, for 10 years, I've been on the Armed Services Committee. You know, for 4 of those years, I helped craft the actual defense budget, especially for things like Special Forces. I've been the chairman of Special Forces. So I know how to work across the aisle. I've worked across the aisle. I know when to fight for the values of Arizonans, and most importantly, but when that requires me to work across the aisle, I've done it, and I'll continue to do it.
You mentioned some things like the border, immigration, inflation. Looking at your campaign website, you have a lot of priorities, you know,
Yep.
LGBTQ rights, abortion, Arizona families, education.
Yep.
What would you say right now are your top 3 priorities as we're about 5 months out from Election Day?
Gracias.
Thank you. How spicy is this, by the way?
Which one?
Can I handle it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's less spicy than Tabasco.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm trusting you.
What's that pot show where you like have conversations while you?
Hot ones?
Hot ones. See, we can do that next.
You want to do that next?
Yeah, we'll do that next.
Let's bring out the habanero. Let's see what
Yes.
happens. That separates the men from the boys.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let me work my way up.
No. Claro. So I like this one better because it is hot sauce.
Okay.
But it's got a little smokiness to it.
Okay.
Right? Versus this is just like straight up Tabasco. And this is like from Louisiana.
Okay.
So that's what people. And then this is straight up from Mexico.
Okay. Smoky like mezcal.
Yeah, smoky like mezcal.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, if you ever need a good mezcal, Ojo de Tigre,
Okay.
recommend it. So priorities, and the priorities I think are what it's reflective of what Arizona needs, right? Not what I want to do. It's what Arizona needs. That's what you are a representative, even as a senator. You're here to fight for the people of Arizona. Right now, what people need are, help bring down the costs of everything right now. Now we've had some progress. It's great, but people still feel it. We need to bring the price of gasoline down. I'm actively working to try to get the EPA to change the standard to blend. That's adding 50 cents more, especially here in Maricopa County. I was very happy to pass Inflation Reduction, which brought pharmaceutical costs down for seniors, but we still have a long way to go, and some of that is corporate greed. The border. There's no denying for us that have lived here in Arizona that what's happening on the border is unprecedented. It's totally different from what we've seen in the past. We have tens of thousands of people that are abusing our asylum system. They know that if they get to the border and just ask for asylum, they could be here 5 to 7 years before they have their first asylum case. And we need to get more judges, more border patrol, fencing where it needs to be, to make sure that they're not taking advantage of the situation. And at the same time, we also have to take care of our local border communities, because they're the ones that are dealing with all the police, all the overtime on ambulances, on hospitals. So That's extremely important, I think, for the whole state. And then lastly, abortion rights. We can't have 50% of our population not have control over their future, over their bodies. We need to support the abortion initiative that's going to be on the ballot this coming November. And we need to have, guarantees at the federal level that we have restoration of Roe, because you have women that are fleeing states to get abortions. Sometimes, unfortunately, life-saving abortions because they're about to go into sepsis. You shouldn't have to do that in order for you to have make a safe medical decision for your family.
Well, okay, so it sounds like economy, abortion, and immigration, top three, right?
Yeah. Water, I'd also throw in there too.
Water rights as well.
Yeah.
For inflation, the economy by metrics is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But like you said, people don't necessarily feel that when they go to the grocery store or the
Yeah,
gas
of
pump.
course.
Do you think the Biden administration is doing enough? Do you think they're relating that message to the everyday person as opposed to saying the economy, look at it, we're doing great, unemployment's low?
I do think they need to be talking more about how they're going to keep fighting to bring the costs down. And look, you could look on paper and they could say the economy is good. You could talk to economists all you want. But when I go through my grocery store, I can tell that people aren't doing as well because the generics are being brought more than the brand names. When I'm sitting in the cart to pay, because I don't do the self-checkout, I see people taking out stuff from their grocery cart as the bill keeps going up, right? So that's kind of an indication, but it is getting better, without a doubt. But we still have a lot more to go. Let's bring down the prices of gas. Let's also look at other things, right? Childcare. I have a 7-year-old son and a 10-month-old daughter. When my son was in childcare, it was about $1,100 a month. Now, the average cost of childcare has gone up to almost $1,500. It's more expensive to keep your kid in childcare for 1 year to send your kid to ASU, right? This is where we need to be really working, so working class Arizona families can actually, have a little breathing room. Because right now it's still tough. It's just still tough. There's no denying it's still tough out there.
Yeah. I mean, you have a pretty great success story. Your mom was a single mother raising you and your sisters. You went to Harvard, ex-Marine.
Still Marine.
Still Marine. Yeah. Veteran. But my point is that you were able to kind of do this, kind of the American dream in a sense, if you will.
Yeah.
Now people are struggling to go to college.
It is. Yeah.
It's very expensive. They're deciding not to even go now. What would you do to maybe make that American dream come back, be affordable, so people can still get a higher education?
Look,
higher ed.
I got to tell you, it was growing up. Yes, I grew up poor. Like my first bed in almost 7 years was my college dorm room bed, and I was excited. It was a bunk bed, mind you. But the one thing I would tell you that I think my mom felt, I felt, and my sisters felt is that if we worked hard, kept our nose clean, didn't get in trouble with the law, did our best to go to school, in grades in school, that we were going to be able to get scholarships, we were going to be able to, maybe have to take out some loans, but we were going to be able to do it and to make it, right? And we were able to do that. My mom sent all of us to college, and then she went and got her college degree. We have a doctor in the family. We have teachers in the family. We have business women in our family. We're all living a really great middle class and above lifestyle, and working hard, but knowing that there's a good outcome to it will make you keep going. Yeah. Right now, when I travel Arizona and I talk to people, voters, they feel that I'm doing everything right and I still can't make it. And it hurts me to see that, because I know, like, sometimes when things are rough, hope is all you have, and right now they just don't feel it. So how does that look like? Well, you need to have an actual senator that actually understands that hope, that understands that wants to succeed, that believes still in the American dream. But you also have to have the structures to be there. I could go to college, and my sisters were able to go to college because college was affordable. Right now, college is ridiculously through the roof. We need to restrict the growth of tuition so parents can actually plan how to raise money and how to save money for college.
Put a cap on it.
Put a cap, or not a cap, that can only rise with inflation, right? We need to bring down the cost of college debt. Why is the United States government loaning out student loans at 7%? I don't think it should be zero, but it certainly can be something that is manageable so someone can actually pay it off. And then we need to have more forgiveness programs. We have a great student debt forgiveness program if you work at a nonprofit, you work for the federal government. I think that's the kind of things we should be looking at. I think we should be forgiving student loan debt for police officers, for firefighters, things of that nature if they serve honorably for 5 years. But there's a lot of ways that we could do this, that we could be reducing student loan debt, reducing the cost of college, also encouraging people to look at other alternative educations, right? You can make a great career in the trades. My family, prior to all going to college, everyone in my family was in the trades. They were carpenters, they were in the unions. They also lived great middle class lifestyle. So we need to figure out how to actually put people in those types of positions they want to work at. Right now, there's a dearth of skilled labor in Arizona. That's our hardest thing. We have a great economy, but we don't have all the skilled labor to actually build it right now. So let's get these kids into that so they could actually start making money and take no debt on too.
Yeah. Well, you got to try your food right there.
Yeah,
before it gets
gracias.
cold. Yes, of course. I'll take another bite. This is actually really good. You have to tell me if I have anything in my teeth, though.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I'll stop you.
Ooh, you guys want me to get fat, huh?
Friday, flour tortillas.
Do you usually do corn?
Corn's, no, I love flour. Flour tortillas are the bomb, but they're just higher in fat. And so I don't get to work out as much anymore because I'm always on the road and stuff like that. But it's, so to cut corners, and not cut corners, but to lose a little weight, I try to do corn.
Corn, okay.
Because once you start, have this one. And just roll it up and dip it into your frijoles. And tell me if it's not one of the best things you ever tasted. Just the combo of it. So I like doing that.
That was really good.
Right?
That was really good. I would definitely get really heavy though.
What's that?
If I could,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
That was really good though.
Yeah, so imagine me where I'm traveling all the time. I land, wake up, go here, go back on a plane, don't get to walk. I mean, you blow up real quick.
Favorite childhood meal?
Ooh. My mom makes really good chicken soup from scratch.
I've never ever heard that answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chicken from scratch. Number 2 is it's a Mexican meal called abondiga soup.
Okay.
Meatball soup. Very, very good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to try that. Okay.
If you go to any Mexican restaurant, most of them will have a sit-down restaurant, not a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Most of them will have some type of abondiga soup or pollo.
Okay.
Some of the pollo.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they actually don't have it.
Right. Okay. We'll ask.
They have it.
They have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a cup to go.
Yeah, get a cup to go. Won't regret.
You said loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Biden's stance on kind of wiping it completely out? Obviously, that got blocked, but the 20,000 or less, depending.
I do think we need to have debt forgiveness.
Regardless, whether, like you said, maybe for police officers or nurses or something, it should be across the board.
Across the board, one-time fix. We can't be doing this all the time. I think we really sold a bad bill of goods to a lot of millions and millions of students in this country, now adults, some of which have been actually paid off more interest than the principal, right? So we're not talking about someone who hasn't been paying. We're talking about people that have been paying and still have not been able to pay down their debt. And it causes a lot of other problems. These people aren't able to get homes. These people aren't able to get cars, start businesses, because it's just weighing them down. And again, this is U.S. money that we are actually giving, and we're indebting these, men and women. I don't want to say young men and women because we're talking about people in their 40s and 50s. So I think we should do a one-time fix. What
would that number be? Do you have a number?
For what?
One-time fixed loan forgiveness. I know Biden's proposing up to 20,000.
I think 20,000 is reasonable because that helps people get kind of the ball rolling, and then you could start paying down even further. But we should help take further steps out of that. For example, refinance. A lot of millions and millions of people can't even refinance their student loans. You could refinance a car, you could refinance a home, you could refinance anything, but you can't refinance student loans, right? And I think that's absolutely abhorrent because you're just basically having people continuing paying interest on something that they're never going to pay off. Yeah. And so taking away the right for them to refinance, I think is something that it's just economically doesn't even make sense.
And speaking of economy, still, I know you want to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. I think that's what you said on your campaign site. Do you think that's enough for MIT came out with their living wage calculator? They say a single person to live a living wage $24.50 around there, $24.25. Right here, it's still under 50. It's $14.25 in Arizona, I believe. Do you think 15's enough, or do you need to go higher than that?
Look, I remember working minimum wage jobs, and it's rough. You can't live off minimum wage. But I also think we have to make sure that we have a good balance between minimum wage and massive inflation, right? So $15 starting, and then you peg that to inflation. I think that's what helps. So that way, eventually, what you do have is a working person being able to catch up. The problem that we've had is that we've had the same minimum wage now for nearly 20 years, right? And costs, of course, have gone up. And at the same time, productivity has gone up, profits have gone up, but the people that are working are not getting any of those benefits. So I do think a $15 minimum wage is a good start. I think pegging into inflation is a good way to kind of make sure we catch up. I also think we got to look at other things that occur right now. Overtime laws are not enforced anymore. When I worked at a meat packing factory in high school, I was excited to work overtime. And you know you have to be really excited to work overtime if you're working in a meat packing factory, right? But I was getting time and a half. Time and a half is amazing to get that on your check. Right now, there are so many ways that companies get away with without getting charged overtime that it's prohibitive for a lot of these families to actually even start making money. And overtime is where a lot of working class people get that extra money for savings, to go on vacation, to maybe put down a down payment. And the way that people are classified a lot of times, these corporations are just using them and not paying what they should be paying.
Yeah, corporate greed. I think you've said that before too. One thing, if you're elected, you'll have to figure out is the Trump-era tax cuts are set to expire. What is your stance on that? Would that be something you would look to try to keep, that same kind of structure, or how would you kind of restructure it if that's?
We're definitely going to have to. It's going to be a compromise. There are some things of the Trump tax cut we should keep, especially the middle class tax cuts. The majority of the Trump tax cuts did not go to the middle class, but what did happen, we should keep that. The middle class can't have any more increases in anything, right? And also the idea of middle class is hard. I mean, a family making $60,000 in this country is not really middle class. They're barely making it. So it'd be irresponsible for us to raise this. Now, on the higher end of that, yeah, we should raise taxes on the higher end. Those that are probably making more than $400,000 individually, and then combined, even higher. Because for one, we have to pay down our debt. We're spending way too much money now, and doing tax cuts that don't pay for themselves is not helpful. We need to go back and reinforce Medicare. That's what some of those tax cuts should go. And we need to use those tax cuts to pay for the middle class tax cuts that are really hurting.
Same line with Biden, 400,000 or less, keep it above that.
Yeah, and then for small businesses, like you make sure that they have very clear exemptions, because you don't want to tax, make sure you're taxing profit above the first dollar above. You don't want to tax revenue or anything of that nature.
Going to immigration now, you supported the bipartisan, border bill that obviously did not get passed. What, in your mind, is a secure border? What does that look like for you?
Let me get this bite in first.
Let's take a good bite and savor that one. Savor that one.
Did you like the Tabasco sauce, by the way?
I did like it. Yeah. It's not too spicy. Let's up it up. Let's get that habanero. I'm ready. Oh, bad. I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. I'm getting a little cocky. Let's not do that yet. Let's not do that yet. Last question, I'll do it.
Yeah, okay. We'll both try. You'll put a little on the tortilla and see what happens.
Perfect. Okay, I'll save a little bit.
So, no, sorry. When you're done.
Yeah.
When you're done chewing.
Well, I want to fit a couple more in, actually, because there's a couple more that I do want to ask you that are good.
You work it out with her.
Okay. If you don't mind. Three, okay. This one doesn't count, though.
We gotta wait. Whoa.
This one doesn't count.
Okay, fine.
He's a good negotiator. Perfect.
Secure border, what does that look like for you?
Secure border, what it looks like to me is a combination of things. Number one, we have enough Border Patrol and enough custom officers for us to deal with whatever comes to the border, right? Increases in fentanyl, increases in trade, illegal immigrants crossing the border. So we don't have that manpower now. I've been working for years, different ways to actually get more of that, but it takes time, and we need to increase that. We also just need to increase the amount of ports of entry because it's killing our economy, the fact that we can't bring as much trade as we want in and out. More asylum judges. Again, the reason we have tens of thousands of people coming to the border and asking for asylum is they know that they're going to be here for 5-7 years before they even get a hearing. 80 to 90% of them are going to get rejected. Right? So if we actually had more asylum judges right now, even those at the border making decisions, most of these men, and they are men, would not make the trek from all around the world to come here knowing that they're going to get rejected in 6 months. And I've been down to the border 7 times in 7 months. Talked to the county sheriffs, talked to the mayors, talked to the nonprofits. I know exactly what's happening down there. The best way just to stem it right now is to make people know that they're going to get deported if they come and have a false claim of asylum. Lastly, you need to also have legal pathways for people to come here. So that way you don't pay the coyotes. That way they don't cross the border and try to ask for asylum. You know, if you want to come and work for this country, if it's needed, right? Because there's some sectors where you do need it. You go to the embassy, you get a visa, you pay a fee, you get a background check, you get a 2-year worker visa, and you come here. If you do well, keep your nose clean, maybe you get an extension, and then you can go on from there. And for those that have been here for a long time, like our dreamers, who are, have kept, again, their noses clean, have had no problems with the government, then we should give them an opportunity to stabilize themselves, give them a pathway to a green card, and eventually, if they earn it, to citizenship, right? But it all needs to happen. If you don't have a clear way for people to come here legally, they're going to try to go through the illegal routes, and if you don't have people to meet that, whether it's Border Patrol, judges, or customs, you're going to keep having these surges.
A thing that I think is important to you is that you talked about PTSD, mental health, being a Marine. What, people that I've talked to, right, that want to go to therapy, they can't afford it because, yes, health insurance covers a portion of it, but that portion is so small.
Very small, and a lot of them don't. A lot of therapists don't take it. That's what I discovered too. Yeah.
What would you do to make sure everyone can have access so they can take care of their mental health, get access to therapy?
Well, look, there's a lot of efforts both on the VA side as well as the private insurer side, as well as what we should be doing in the federal government in terms of paying for more of it. So partly it's something that I think we have to encourage private business to cover. I think I think I'm a better person because I finally dealt with my PTSD. I'm a better human, I'm a better husband, I'm a better father. But it was tough. I mean, I gotta tell you, I was very dissuaded at first by the VA when I first got back from the war. I started paying out of pocket because my insurance wouldn't cover a counselor that specialized in trauma, and so I paid out of pocket for as long as I could. It pains me that there may be a lot of U.S. citizens, not just with PTSD from war, but just in general, that could do better with mental, some therapy. So I think we have to reinvest as much as we can on it, and it really helps in all levels, right? It's not just PTSD. It's people that have survived domestic violence, people that have survived child abuse, sexual assault victims, people that are teetering on slipping into the SMI, seriously mentally ill community that really creates a big portion of our homeless population. So investment by private sector, public sector is really important, and it could go and really help this country bring down levels of violence. There's a lot of things we could be doing.
Subsidize the cost?
We should, yeah.
Okay.
We already do subsidize the cost, but it's not reflective of how much the true cost is, because a lot of therapists out there will not take your insurance, unfortunately. Yeah. And this is my personal experience.
Okay, I know we're tight on time. Last question here. I just wanted your reaction to the Trump trial. Obviously, we got the verdict yesterday. Guilty on all counts, felony charges.
Look, it's in some regards, this is an example of what a great country it is. He got treated like a U.S. citizen. He got a fair trial, judged by his peers, but now he's in his appeal process. And he's going to go through the sentencing process, everything else like that. So we should respect the process. As for me, I'm here to respect whatever the jury decides to do, whatever the appeals court decides to do, whatever the judge decides to do. It's not my place really to jump in and interfere and root one way or the other. As long as two things happen, the president gets his due process, or ex-president gets his due process, and the jury in our justice system is respected.
Do you think, your opponent, or likely opponent, Carrie Lake, has said this was a rigged election, so did Trump. There was some, perspective of potential conflict of interest that they were pointing out. For example, the Judge Merchant, his daughter, Lauren, works for a campaign firm. with clients, big Democrat profile candidates. The Arizona Democratic Party actually is one of their clients. Do you think that should be a potential cause of concern, that relationship between the judge and his daughter and the Democratic Party?
Well, I think the appeals court will decide that. This is, the New York Appeals Court understands the extent of the law. So again, I don't really want to interfere with the process because I think it's also somewhat untoward for politicians to get involved in the middle of something like this and try to lean opinion. So we'll let the process go through, and including the appeals process to something like that the president seems to think is a legitimate cause. Let him go and present his cause.
Objectively, though, perspective-wise, do you think that looks or potential should be looked into at all? If there's a relationship?
I think it's going to be looked into by the appeals court. So I was going to say, former president has a right to appeal. He's going to bring that as an appeal. I'm sure he's already brought up an appeal to a different process, and then let the process go through.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time. I know you got to run. Yes, this was great.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Come back anytime.
Yes, thank you.